Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and just today, LEGO has officially unveiled Ninjago Dragons Rising, the brand new TV series for LEGO Ninjago with a ton of new sets to take a look at. Now, I have been a huge fan of Ninjago ever since it started in 2011, and throughout all these years, more and more, I have always been asking, we should get new characters, let's see some fresh blood, new faces, and finally, they're actually doing it. We're getting a whole cast of new characters. Sure, the ninja are still returning, the main original 6 ninja that we've known to grow and love, but we also have some new members of the team. So not only in this video will we take a look at all of the brand new Ninjago Dragons Rising sets, but we will also get a chance to take a look at the structure and overall plan for the show. Thanks to the LEGO Ambassador Network, Duckbricks had the opportunity to be able to interview the writers and the set designers behind Ninjago Dragons Rising, so we have a whole lot of details about the future of Ninjago to go through right now. And so, without further ado, let's jump up, kick back, whip around, and spin, and let's go! Alright, so let's get right into both the sets as well as a lot of really exciting new updates that we have on the Ninjago TV show. Duckbricks actually had the opportunity to attend a exclusive LAN session where we got to meet Asa Tate, one of the writers for the new show, as well as Nick von Slagmat, designer of most of the LEGO sets for this newest wave, and really get a chance to dive deep into the insights behind what makes this wave tick, why did they do this, why did they decide to reboot the show, and essentially what form the show will take going forwards in the future, which is really exciting. So a bit of background on Asa Tate. He first worked on Ninjago during the Ninjago Decoded miniseries, which basically recapped the entire events of Ninjago after the movie came out leading up to Sons of Garmadon, and he really started working full-time as a writer on Ninjago once we actually moved into the crystallized season, which he mentioned was basically written about 4 years ago. Now he has been pretty much one of the main writers on the newest show, Ninjago Dragons Rising, and had a lot to say about the new format of the show, what essentially the main cast is going to look like year after year, and even what we're going to be seeing for future years in terms of set waves tying into the story itself. So let's get into it. First off, we got a bit of a recap of what exactly Ninjago Dragons Rising is all about. To quote, "A cataclysmic event combines the 16 mystic realms of Ninjago, both familiar and new, into one world. 2 teenagers from different worlds, literally, set out to become heroic ninja and use their newly discovered powers to defend the secret dragons, who will unite their world forever or destroy it completely." So essentially that gives a bit of an overview of what to expect from the show itself. There was the next slide that talked about dragons and ninja and saying, quote, "The bond between dragons and ninjas runs deep. Dragons hold the keys to elemental powers, and the secret of mysterious new dragons, which have the power to save the newly united world or destroy it forever." Can move on from that to the core ninja team, and this is probably the most interesting piece of information because it actually has to do with future seasons and years of the show, and here's what the quote says, which really interested me and honestly really excited me as a longtime fan of Ninjago, as well as just original story-based LEGO themes in general. The quote goes, "We have new main characters, but the original heroes of Ninjago are still here fighting the good fight. Lloyd, Aaron, and Sora will remain the heart of this team, but the makeup of the team can and will change from year to year. Other slots will be filled with a mix of new and returning ninja each year." So this is probably the most exciting part to me, and I know this is going to be a controversial choice, but I am of the firm belief that this was the best thing the theme could have done. I asked a couple of follow-up questions about this, and basically what they said is that none of the original 6 ninja are really going anywhere, but there will be some years where they just simply will not feature that much in the story itself. However, that doesn't mean that they will be completely absent from the main story. While they may not feature in the main TV show, we could see some shorts, comics, books, all sorts of smaller episodes where we could see each of the ninja on their own adventures, showing that basically since the world has expanded, the different team members are kind of going to be off doing their own thing. For instance, just as a complete example here, we could see a year where we have, say, Kai, Lloyd, Aaron, Sora, and 2 new characters, and maybe we'll see Zane going off on his own adventure in a short series of episodes on YouTube, or we'll see Cole exploring his own journey in a comic similar to the Garmadon comics. I think this is actually a really good way to really make the story and world of Ninjago feel big, and also allows us to have a lot of new fresh blood. For me, that's something that Ninjago has seriously been lacking over the years. We've gotten so used to the core 6 ninja, and we all know and love them, but that means that most of their character arcs have honestly kind of run their course. In fact, one of the biggest critiques that a lot of us had for the latest canon book, which was Quest for the Lost Powers, was that we felt that a lot of the character arcs for the main 6 ninja had been stuff we had seen from the show before. By doing this new show and actually bringing in new characters and allowing the roster of the team to change every single year, that is a really smart idea to make the show continuously feel fresh and really make it feel like a revolving team of heroes. This is something Bionicle did actually quite well back when it was in its peak, when we were focusing on different teams of heroes over the course of multiple different years. For instance, the first 3 years focused on the main 6 heroes, added a 7th by the 3rd year. The next couple of years focused on completely different heroes, some characters we've seen in the past, but it was a completely different time period. And then the next 2 years after that was another team of heroes, again, characters we had seen before, but not as the main heroes. And then finally, things came full circle in the next year, focusing on the original heroes. And I think that's something that Ninjago could do really well and could really use to its advantage, because it honestly has been in dire need of fresh blood. So I am very, very excited. Now, speaking of being very excited, the next slide we were shown, and I really wish we could show these slides, but unfortunately we cannot show them. I can talk about them, but I cannot show what the slides actually looked like. But this slide was titled The Future of Ninjago, and essentially they had 6 main categories, which was, this is now a show that is serialized from season to season. It's not going to be like something we're used to with Prime Empire and Master of the Mountain, for example, being completely unrelated. You could pick up one season and just pick up another one, and they would not really tie into each other. No, this is a serialized show now, which means they are building to a massive conclusion, even more so than Crystallized, and this has been planned out for years to come, which, oh my goodness, thank goodness they are doing this. I know a lot of complaints about Crystallized felt that they maybe didn't quite have the plan locked down, and we've seen this issue in bigger media before. Look at the Star Wars sequel trilogy. They didn't really have a plan, and it really showed when it came to the big finale. Now, they explicitly said that they have a huge story arc to last over the next several years, and they will be building towards it in a serialized fashion, which, yes, let's go! I've been so excited for this. In my opinion, some of the best Ninjago media has come when 2 seasons essentially tell one story. We saw it with Sons of Garmadon leading into Hunted. That was really solid because it told one continuous story. This is even crazier, because it's not just over 1 year. This is over multiple years, and that brings us to the second bullet point, that Ninjago is pivoting to quote-unquote huge stories that run across years. Again, let's go. I'm so excited, and I'm really curious to hear what other folks' thoughts are on this as well, because this is just so incredibly exciting. The third bullet point was just discovery of the secret dragons. Don't really know what that means, but I'm assuming that some of the dragons, like the ones we've seen on the poster, and even some of the ones we've seen in the animations, we haven't gotten sets for those yet. Like, there is a really big dragon that they keep on showing off in the trailers that we just haven't gotten a set for, so I imagine that's coming next year, and this is part of the overarching plot, which is very cool. The fourth bullet point was quite interesting because it says, new characters to join competing Spinjitzu dojos, which implies that maybe for future years, there could be some rival ninja teams. We could be following different sorts of teams, different characters, different compositions of teams, which is very exciting. The fifth bullet point was new lands filled with villains and dragons, so I think that's pretty much to be expected, but still very cool. And finally, the sixth bullet point is builds on the characters and lore that we love. So all in all, this is probably the most exciting thing to happen to Ninjago in years, and I am so happy that they are finally doing this, committing to long-form storytelling. It really shows that the story is willing to go to maybe a more mature direction, to something that is meant to be followed over the course of years, and this is just so great to hear, especially as a longtime fan of Ninjago, who did like a lot of the recent stuff they did, but did admittedly feel that a lot of them felt very standalone. They were really standalone installments. Crystallized was a little disappointing in the way it was done. This feels like a major step in the right direction. The next slide said, "Together We Rise is all about celebrating the incredible epic things we can achieve when we find a special connection with someone. It's about that spark of magic between kids, ninjas, and dragons that turbocharges something inside them, driving them to greatness. It's about fans everywhere rising up to be ninja, unlocking their potential together." So that was a lot of marketing speak, so I'm sure that a lot of folks, that doesn't really give us that much more information, but really, I guess it talks a little bit about the thought process behind this. There's some additional information that was revealed to the LEGO Ambassador Network as well, which has to do with why exactly there is such a big focus on dragons. There is a specific quote that says in 2021, they ran a survey and did a lot of research with kids, and essentially the feedback they got showed that kids really wanted dragons to be front and center of the new story. That is a quote from Nigel Kong, who is the head of product for LEGO Ninjago. So I guess I assume that LEGO did some research, kids like dragons, and they made that known. So that's why dragons are so prominent. I'm a big fan of dragons. I don't think it's possible for a Ninjago fan to not like dragons, so I think that's really great, and I'm curious how closely tied they are into the story itself. One thing that Asa said that they really wanted to focus on in this new series is the relationship between the heroes and their dragons, instead of just being metaphysical energy beasts that they kind of can just generate, or things that just pop in from season to season. They wanted to replicate the feel of the bond the ninja had between their dragons that we saw back in the pilots, where all the dragons had names and they were basically the ninja's pets, and I guess a little bit in Hunted where it was about training dragons, but they really wanted to take that aspect to the next level in the storyline. But so, without further ado, I think it's time that we jump into the actual composition of the season after being shown a clip of the intro, which featured a brand new song, Not by the Fold, by something that sounds, I don't think it is, but it sounded a lot like Cryoshell, which was the Bionicle band. I don't know how much I can actually say about the song itself. It was a female singer, which was really cool to get for a Ninjago main theme song. I don't know if I can even talk about what the lyrics were. I just want to play it safe. I obviously am not going to be including any clips from the new intro, which, mind you, looks very cool. We may or may not have seen some of those clips already online, but the whole intro, or at least the part that we were shown, looked and sounded very cool. I cannot wait for that new song to come out because it sounded very, very, very good. But overall, it's now time to talk about what exactly will be the composition of the season itself. So here is the really exciting stuff, and folks who have been following the show probably know all about this already. I think that this information is out, but it was new to me when I heard about this. It was new to me when I was recording this audio, so this is very, very exciting, because essentially, Season 1 of Ninjago Dragons Rising will consist of 20 episodes, 22 minutes each. This is returning to the 22-minute format. Let's go! Finally, oh my goodness, I am so happy right now. The first 10 episodes will drop on June 1st on Netflix in the US. The second 10 episodes will drop in the fall. There will also be 2 teaser trailers, a 90-second merge clip, a 90-second new villains clip, and a poster, which I assume by the time of the recording of this video, or by the time that this video actually releases, will probably all have been released already, but I have not seen those yet, so it's very exciting. And yeah, this is the longest season of Ninjago we have ever gotten, ever, in terms of runtime. And that is very exciting, because this is really showing that Ninjago is taking itself seriously as a main form of kids' entertainment. It is really how a lot of long-form cartoons do things. The longest seasons that we got were back when the show was first airing. Seasons 1 and 2, Rise of the Snakes and Legacy of the Green Ninja, each had 13 22-minute episodes. This is almost double, because we have 20 episodes, so it is going to be the longest span of content we've ever gotten for Ninjago. I am so excited, and I really hope that they're able to pull off the storytelling and make each episode feel fresh and exciting. The exact logline of the series is, quote-unquote, "Many legendary realms have suddenly combined into one, but their union is unstable. A ninja master must train a new generation of heroes to help find elemental dragons who can save the planet before the forces of evil use the same dragon energy to destroy this new world." So, pretty cool. And with that, we basically have summed up all of the points for the TV show, and we can now take a look at the sets themselves. But of course, I do want to hear a lot about what your thoughts are on the show. I am so excited because it is a new era for Ninjago. It's very fresh, it's very new, it's very exciting, and this is a time of a lot of change, and I think it's a really cool thing for fans of Ninjago to be able to experience this. But without further ado, I think it's time that we jump right into the sets themselves, because there are quite a lot of them, and thankfully, we actually are getting some gimmick sets, which is quite cool, and they are basically going to be different types of spinjitzu. So essentially, the Ninjago designers introduced a new kind of spinjitzu for this new wave, and it is introducing the Dragon Energy Core piece, which did leak a little bit earlier, actually leaked a while ago, but it actually is a really cool way to not only let the minifigures do spinjitzu, but also to let their vehicles do spinjitzu as well as launch it as a projectile like a Bionicle Zammersphere. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with this, and let's go ahead and take a look at the first few gimmick sets. Unfortunately, in the US, the prices, much like the dragons, are rising. They are 10 euros and 9 pounds, however they are 11 US dollars, so LEGO basically increased the price by $1. Boo, I hope that they don't keep doing that. However, let's just take a look at them right now. The first one is set number 71777, Kai's Dragon Power Flip. And this is showcasing a new form of spinjitzu. It is also an exclusive Kai minifigure with transparent orange arms, which looks really, really good. They are actually able to do printing on the mask itself, which is very exciting, and here you can kind of get a look at how the actual orbs work. The Ninjago set designers were actually able to show us on this video how the spinjitzu power worked itself. Unfortunately, I can't show any clips from that, so we don't really have any videos, but it looked really satisfying on camera to spin around. They basically have had a ball and socket mount where there can be no friction between it, so it really glides super smoothly, and it's so smooth that you can even do it on vehicles, which is coming. We'll see that in a second. Otherwise, there isn't really that much to say about the sets. I think in the US they absolutely should not be $11, and I think they really should be $10, but you know what, it is what it is. The next set here is 71778, Nia's Dragon Power Drift. It basically is a similar mechanic, but it allows you to, I guess, drift it along. Not really sure what the difference will be in play for these, but presumably there is some way that you're supposed to do it. Oh, I think I see that Kai's the flip is that you can actually flip it in different directions or cause the dragon orbs to flip. The drift, I'm assuming you're supposed to be able to slide it forwards, almost like a car, to roll it forward, so that's why you're drifting instead of spinning. And I think that's a really cool and versatile thing about the new spinjitzu gimmick, is that you can use it to actually be wheels of a car if you want to. I cannot wait to see what Makis are able to do with these because they look really versatile. And lastly, we have the next gimmick set, which is 71779, Lloyd's Dragon Power Spin. Of course, with Lloyd, you just want to do the simple spinjitzu, so it is going to be spinning around. Moving on from that, we can take a look at the actual sets themselves. The first one is a 4+ set. This is 71789, Kai and Raz's Car and Bike Battle. Retails for 21 euros, 20 US dollars, and 19 British pounds. It is a 4+ set, so it is very juniorized builds. However, I will say that it is probably one of the coolest 4+ set builds that we've gotten in a while. I love that we're getting a unique dual molded dragon head for Kai's vehicle, which is not actually that cartoony. Sometimes with the junior stuff, they really try to make them overly cartoony, but it feels like this could be a decent side build in an existing larger Ninjago set, which is good. What's especially great is that you get the main villain Raz in the smallest set of the wave, excluding the spinners of course, which sometimes they lock the main villain behind a lot of the most expensive sets, and it's really cool to actually be able to get him, which I'm assuming he's the main villain. I guess there's a lot of villains here, but he seems to be one of the main ones at least, in the cheapest set, which is really nice, sporting a really fantastic dual molded blade. Raz also has arm printing, which is amazing. It is so cool to finally get that for a Ninjago character who isn't like something we got in the Bricktober packs or for the Ninjago movie. They are really dedicating to putting budget into this new launch of the theme, and it really shows. So I am a big fan of how they did that. Moving on to the next set though, we can take a look at set number 71790. This is the Imperium Dragon Hunter Hound. So the Imperium is actually one of the realms. That was something that was explained to us. Ooh, maybe that might be a spoiler, but essentially I'm sure it's going to be obvious once the trailers come out, but the Imperium is one of the 16 realms of Ninjago that has collided with these other realms, and they are a technologically advanced empire who is either trying to unite this world under their rule, or maybe trying to destroy the merge to really just make the realm be off in its own separate plane of existence again. So, very curious how that will turn out, but again, this is the Hunter Hound. It retails for 20 US dollars, 21 euros, and 19 British pounds, and I am actually actually a big fan of this build. It comes with Lloyd, Jay, and one of the new villains. This is one of the generals, which is a very cool minifigure to get, and I just think this is a really menacing looking build. It feels like an upgraded version of the LEGO Vikings Fenris Wolf. It is a really cool build overall, and I think the box art kinda does it dirty. To be honest, it doesn't look that great when you look at it from the box art, but when you actually look at it to play with and when we actually saw videos of it, I was a lot more convinced at how cool it was. So maybe it just looks a little awkward on the angle of the box, but everything else does look pretty good. Moving on from that, we have 71791, Zane's Dragon Power Spinjitzu race car, retailing for $35 US, 35 euros, and 30 British pounds. It comes with Zane, Cole, an Imperium Claw Hunter, and an Imperium Guard Commander, both phenomenal minifigures. The minifigure design, even just for the generic villains, is fantastic. They look so good and so menacing. And the really cool thing about this car is that, yes, this is the first time they've actually made a vehicle be able to do Spinjitzu. So essentially how it works is you press a button on the back and the front and back wheels will actually move upwards. I am very curious how that mechanism worked. When it was shown off on the video, it looked like it had a really satisfying click to it, like you could actually click the wheels up and down, and then you could actually make the car spin or even roll faster based on just the two dragon orbs on the side, which I think is really cool. One of the collectibles, or I guess the main collectibles of this wave, are the orbs themselves, so you have them in all sorts of different colors. This one comes with the blue ones for Zane. I do kind of wish that they also came up with an exclusive Dragon Power Spinjitzu Zane minifigure for this that would be in line with some of the spinner minifigures. They've done it before, but I think it would have just still been cool to get that. Unfortunately, it is just the regular version of Zane, but it is still cool to get Zane and Cole. A lot of people are wondering if they'd even be in the season, so yes, they are, but probably won't be appearing for a while. Now, again, those guard minifigures look really cool. I love the new mold for the lightning/ice decaling on the front. Feels almost straight out of Bionicle. It's kind of like a better version of the CCBS Hero Factory lightning mold injection piece, so very cool to get that. And overall, a very good looking vehicle. I don't know if it's worth $35. It does feel pretty reminiscent of other vehicles we've gotten in the past, like Scott's car from Prime Empire, but I really think you have to get this one in your hands to play around with it, because I don't feel like I can make a really solid opinion on it until I actually am able to, well, spin it around myself. Moving on from that, we have Sora's Transforming Mech Bike Racer. Set number 71792 retails for 48 euros, 48 US dollars, and 43 British pounds, which feels kind of like a price increase. I feel like this was supposed to maybe be 45. Could have been even 40 before that, because it does feel a little bit high. However, this does introduce one of the main new characters of the wave, which is of course Sora. She does have arm printing on the golden metallic arm, a new mold for the headpiece, which looks great. And this looks like a really fun build because you can actually transform this from a mech into a bike, which we have seen a lot of times in the trailers. It basically is just like a transformer. I think the shaping of the mech is really cool. It feels like this is her signature vehicle, and this is going to be a really fun one to put together. I cannot wait to have this in hand. It also comes with the baby Ryu, the baby dragon, which we've seen a lot in the trailers, which is also a brand new mold for Ninjago Dragons Rising, and I'm curious to see how that fits into the story itself. Moving on from that, we have a next set here, which is a big one. 71793 is Heatwave, Transforming Lava Dragon. I'm assuming Heatwave is the dragon's name, retailing for $55, 53 euros, and 47 British pounds. It comes with Kai Lloyd, a mysterious new character called Wildfire. They refused to tell us anything about her when we were actually being told about the sets. In fact, I believe it was, this was recorded back in April, early April, but they did not even want to tell us Wildfire's name until we actually got the set images, so something interesting is going on with that. She seems to be an elemental master of fire like Kai. I'm very curious what the deal is with that. Reusing one of the headpieces from Lego Monkey Kid, which is great to see that being recolored. And yeah, I don't know what her deal is, but it seems very exciting, and this could be her dragon. Now, this is a transforming, or at least a quote-unquote transforming dragon, but I'm gonna be honest, the transformation isn't that interesting. When we heard the set names and one of the sets was a transforming lava dragon, I got very excited because I was expecting some crazy transformation that would turn it into something completely different. But the transformation is basically that you just turn it upside down, and then it kind of has a slightly different stance to it. I don't know, I was kind of expecting that to be a little bit more exciting than just turning the torso upside down. I guess it is cool that you can kind of turn it into a cannon, so it launches the dragon orb, the purple one, which is what it looks like, but again, not really sure why the emphasis was on the fact that it transforms, when basically it is just a regular dragon, but you can flip the torso around. I mean, technically all dragons are transforming dragons, because you can just flip their torsos around. Although this one does radically change the look, so I do get it. I think it looks good, I just think it's kind of goofy that it is named after a transforming feature that doesn't seem too impressive to me. That being said, good to get Lord Ross in another set. The Imperium Claw Hunter is another great minifigure cast purely in pearl gold, and I like how all the villains of the wave have pretty advanced technological flyers and different types of vehicles to really feel like there's a larger faction behind this. But moving on from that, we can take a look at one of the sets that was revealed quite a while ago accidentally by LEGO themselves on their Facebook page. Set number 71794 is Lloyd and Aaron's Ninja Team Mechs. This will retail for $80 US, 85 euros, oof, unfortunate, and 75 British pounds, and comes with a team of mechs for Lloyd and Aaron. Now this one I've already made a video on when we saw the first image on it, and honestly I don't have that much more to say about it. I think the Lloyd mech looks really good. The Aaron mech also feels very unique. One thing that the set designers were talking about when talking about the set was that they wanted to make Aaron's mech feel very different than other mechs we've gotten from Ninjago before, so even though it is kind of taking the standard core template, they wanted it to feel very uniquely visually distinct, which is why it has a dragon head coming out of the front, which really does include a very unique sort of shaping, which I think is pretty cool. The combined form of the mech is admittedly, in my opinion, a little goofy. Don't really know exactly how I feel about that, but overall I think this is going to be a fun set. We'll probably be displaying the mechs separately, which is kind of strange because typically when LEGO does combining sets, the builds always look better combined, but here, I don't know, Lloyd's mech, I'm really digging the dark green color scheme, the unique Technic panels and what looks to be dark orange on the sides. Everything looks pretty cool on its own, and the abundance of Keat orange on the front of Aaron's mech does kind of feel like it juxtaposes a little bit too much with it. So, I don't know, we'll have to have this one in hand again to see how I feel. Moving on from that, we have set number 71795, Temple of the Dragon Energy Cores, retailing for $95 US, 95 euros, and 85 British pounds. This comes with Kai, Cole, Nia, the quote-unquote spirit of the temple, which is very interesting. I do not know what that's about, but it is a very unique minifigure for kind of a one-off thing, so I don't know what that will play in the story. We also have Lord Ross, and for the first time in the set, Empress Beatrix. So Empress Beatrix also looks to be one of the main villains. I don't know if she is going to be above Roz. Maybe she and Roz are both the leaders of the whole Imperium realm. Maybe they're a couple, you know, they're a power couple. They're ruling the realm together. Maybe Lord Ross is under her. We'll have to see and wait for the TV show to come out to really understand the relationships between these characters, but we do get Empress Beatrix, who has a really cool minifigure design. She has a great armor piece, nice hairpiece with the white going on the side, and of course that head expression is really fun. Feels like it would fit in a cyberpunk world really well, which I think is pretty cool. And then moving on from the minifigures, we can take a look at the temple itself, and yeah, this is another amazing Ninjago building. It really does feel like a very intricate pagoda. I love the way the tree is done, growing out of the side of the temple. You have a really nice intricate bridge connecting the temple to the tree itself. This is a set that I cannot wait to get in hands. It honestly looks like one of the best LEGO Ninjago temple buildings in a long time. It is a great return to form to kind of a traditional Ninjago temple that we haven't really seen in the recent years unless you count the core dojos, but overall, very cool to get this. I'm a big fan of the way this is built. I want to see more pictures. I want to have this in hand to build and review, which thankfully LEGO will be sending us the entire wave, every single Ninjago set to review for the first time ever, so that's amazing. We'll talk more about that later because I'm very excited about that. But yeah, overall, very, very cool how they are actually going to be able to have this be set up as another pinnacle of Ninjago building techniques for a Ninjago temple. Moving on from that, we have the Elemental Dragon versus the Empress Mech. Set number 71796 retails for 130 US dollars, 95 British pounds, or 105 euros. And this might be one of my favorite sets of the wave. It may actually be my favorite, because this is a great battle pack. We have not gotten a villain versus hero dual pack in so long with LEGO Ninjago, and finally we are getting one. This lightning dragon is amazing. It looks so good. I love how they're using the brand new lightning molded piece on the tail, which is very, very cool. It has a detachable jet, which I assume will attach onto the back or maybe onto the front of the dragon. We'll see how that one goes. And the mech for the Empress also looks really, really good. Like, I'm a big fan of how that looks. It just looks like a very cool design for the mech itself. The sword is done really well. I like how it has kind of almost like an eye in the center. I love the color scheme for the villains too. The gold and the black and the hints of dark red feel very regal to me, which is super cool. And this set comes with Baby Ryu, Zane J, Sora, Lord Ross, Empress Beatrix, and an Imperium Guard. And I'm guessing the Imperium Guards are kind of the more elite versions of the guards. Very cool to see that. And this dragon seems to have a lot of very cool play features as well. You have a lot of different things that you can do with it that they showed off in the video, and I can't wait to have this in hand to review, because this is also the first time since the pilots that we're also getting a major large lightning dragon for Jay. Now all we're missing is one for Cole, because we got one for Lloyd and Zane and Core, which also are appearing in this new series. We got stuff for Nia with the water dragon. We got a great fire one for Legacy Kai. Now we get one for Jay, and now we're just waiting on Cole. So maybe next year, because again, dragons seem to be here to stay. And moving on, we have our final set in the main Dragons Rising lineup, although of course there is one more that is very, very exciting for a lot of people. But this is the Destiny's Bounty Race Against Time, set number 71797, retailing for 160 US dollars, which is a little high, 150 euros and 130 British pounds. So this is one of the most unorthodox Destiny's Bounty builds we've gotten so far. One of the jokes that Neek made when presenting the set was that he said in the show the bounty gets destroyed so often that he literally wanted to build in what looked to be a super strong support pillar on the middle of the ship, which is why you have a really strong support column in the center, which is really skinny but looks super durable. They made that both physically strong in real life but also aesthetically strong, so I find it really funny how they actually are responding to how people are kind of laughing at the stuff that the show does with the bounty and really tried to make that a part of the set, making it feel more robust. And the very interesting thing here is that obviously this is for Dragons Rising. So instead of having a figurehead of a brick-built dragon head, they decided to make the figurehead a living dragon, which is very cool. It is a pretty novel idea. I think that's a great thing for them to do. But because they had to make that dragon be well proportioned to the rest of its build, but also fit inside the ship, they had to make the head kind of small. And if you mount the head on the front of the ship, it does feel a little bit awkward. It feels like the front is very large and wide, and then there's this tiny little Azure dragon head sticking out of the front. If you want to display them separately, the front of the ship does feel very awkward without anything attached to it, so not a huge deal, but I feel like it is an odd aesthetic choice, although I do understand it, because for Ninjago Dragons Rising, that is something that feels like it was needed. I mean, having the actual front of the ship separate out makes sense to me. As for the rest of the ship itself, I actually think it looks pretty cool. I like that they have a little bit of a hint of the Azure color scheme to really make this feel like a fresh and unique bounty. The back cockpit with the pagoda style roof does look really good, and I do like how the sails are reminiscent of some of the earlier bounty sails that they did, like back in the 2012 bounty where the sails folded outwards. That's a really cool design, and I think it just looks cool overall. Thankfully, this does come with Master Wu, although he is just in his core outfit. A little bit disappointing. I was kind of curious if they do a new outfit for the new series, but eventually they just decided not to. And it does come with Baby Ryu, Sora, Aaron, Lloyd, Kai, and Rapton, who is one of the bounty hunter-like villains who honestly I thought would appear more in the sets given his prominence in the trailers and in the show. And it's kind of interesting how he isn't really in a ton of the sets other than this one and one other. Moving on from that, though, we can speak about that one other standard set. It is just another 4+ set, Nia and Aaron's Baby Dragon Battle, set number 71798, retailing for $35 US, 32 euros, and 27 British pounds. Again, following the very wacky and strange prices that LEGO has been doing for this year and this summer wave in particular. Feels very odd how they're pricing things. Again though, for a 4+ set, this is also pretty good. Set number 71798 comes with a lightning dragon as well as one of the villains riding a helicopter-like flying vehicle, which again, these two builds don't honestly look that bad compared to a lot of the other 4+ sets we've gotten in the past. The dragon is pretty substantial. It has a brand new print for the head, which does look very good. I really do like how that looks. It feels very clearly to me like a lightning dragon and not a water dragon, which is something that is very strange to me because it does not include Jay. The minifigures included for the ninja are just Nia and Aaron. So I don't know why it is clearly a lightning dragon. Like, there are lightning bolts on the side of the head, the wings are transparent yellow, and Nia's riding it. Maybe they just didn't want to give another water dragon. Maybe lightning dragons cynically sell better than water dragons. I don't know, but it's fine. The build is pretty good. I like getting minifigures this detailed in a 4+ relatively smaller set, and it is a nice little set to complement the rest of the wave. But there is one set that everybody has been dying for. Everybody has been so excited. I could barely even believe it was real when it was first rumored. And that is set number 71799, Ninjago City Markets, retailing for a whopping $370 US, 370 euros, and 320 British pounds. So let's get the elephant out of the room first. Yeah, this has a lot of characters we have been dying to get in minifigure form. Let me just read out the character lineup because this is a dream come true. So the two regular ninja, probably the most boring minifigures in the set that we are getting, are Lloyd and Nia. Alright, makes sense, you want to get the standard forms of the characters. Next up though, we have Detective Zane. Okay, very nice to get that outfit for Zane. I love the new head that they actually have a smile on the head, which looks just like the detective outfit from Prime Empire. They really just transplanted that one for one, so very big fan of how they did that one. We have Blacksmith Kai, which is interesting. I think the outfit is pretty good. I definitely feel like they could have just done something that was identical to the pilots and it maybe would have been even better, but it's still better than nothing. It is really cool to get Blacksmith Kai's and finally an official LEGO minifigure calling all the way back to the pilots. We have Urban Aaron and Urban Sora, which both look pretty good. They're basically in their casual outfits, which we've seen a lot in the trailers, so these are pretty essential minifigures to get, especially if you want to collect these characters who are basically going to be the new main characters for the show going forwards in their regular outfits, so good to get those. We have Misdemeanor, great to see her from the Crystallized and Seabound seasons, so wasn't really even sure if we would ever get her as a minifigure. She seemed really specialized to get, but it is cool to see that. Hound Dog McBrog, also a good one. Doesn't require any new molds or anything, but the prints are great. The one that excites me the most is Camille, because finally, after how many years has it been? 9 years? 8, 9 years? We finally are able to get the full lineup of Elemental Masters. I do not know how it took this long, but finally we are getting the last Elemental Master we needed, Camille. Very cool. We get Dareth in the outfit that he first appeared in Sons of Garmadon and has appeared in since, which was shocking that we never got him in this outfit since then, but it's very good to finally get it. Long overdue. Cyrus Borg, yes, this is an exclusive minifigure specifically for Cyrus Borg, and they actually introduced a new head in LEGO City earlier this year that a lot of people suspected could be great for Cyrus Borg, but no, they just didn't use that and made an even more accurate one with the glasses the right color. So good to get that, good representation for a wheelchair in LEGO City. Now there's one minifigure that is going to be very exciting to fans in general. Fans of what, I might say, maybe not Ninjago, but Racer 7 here has a Bionicle t-shirt on featuring a flaming Kanohi Hao from Toa-Tahu. Oh my goodness. So, in any other world, I would kind of be like, you know what, I wish that we got Racer 7 in her actual outfit from the show, it feels kind of weird to get Racer 7 in a non-green outfit. Like, I don't know why she's the one wearing the Bionicle outfit, or why they couldn't give the Bionicle outfit to any random civilian. It's nice to get Racer 7, but clearly they had the budget to give her her actual outfit if they wanted to. They chose not to. Instead, they chose to give her the Bionicle shirt, which now makes me very torn, because I feel like now my allegiances don't know where they sit. Because as a Bionicle fan, oh my goodness, this is like my favorite minifigure torso in years. But as a Ninjago completionist and a Ninjago TV show fan, why didn't they give her her regular outfit? They had the budget to make it. Just give the Bionicle outfit to someone else. Also, it's interesting how they call her Racer 7 and not Blazy H Speed. Did LEGO just dead name her? That is not very tolerant of them. Disappointing. Anyways, moving on from Racer 7, we have Gale Gossip, who I was shocked that we haven't gotten before in minifigure form. But yeah, no, we've never gotten her. I had to think back and I realized that we never actually got her in minifig form before, so very good. Vinnie Folson, which is the one that everybody knew was coming because they accidentally included his torso in a collectible minifigure pack, which is really funny. A Sushimi Chef, which also is a reference to Prime Empire. His torso is featuring the sushimi logo from Prime Empire itself, so cool to see that being a reference. But again, I will add that if they had the budget to make a new outfit for a character, like a new torso print, why not give it to a different, maybe more important character we haven't seen before? Not a big deal, but just something I would notice. The Baker, which seems to be just a generic Lego City-esque minifigure. The Boat Vendor, which I could be wrong on this, but I feel like is also sporting a brand new print for the torso, which, may I add, if they had the budget to make another torso print, could have gotten, I don't know, one of the members of the Upply or something. But, you know, it's still good to get new torso prints. A Street Vendor, which thankfully this one does look like it is just made out of Lego City pieces, so nothing super crazy is going on with the torso there. A Borg store employee, which is very cool because she does have an exclusive new print for the shirt with the Cyrus Borg logo on it, which I think is just a really useful thing to get in general, especially if you can buy it in bulk. That is a new print that just makes sense to me because you see a lot of that in the show. We have a Tea Vendor, who also has a new torso print, which could have gone to a more interesting character? I don't know. Like, Apartment Garmadon, for example, could have been a good one to include. All you need to do is print a new torso for that one, but, you know, it is still good to get that. I feel like I'm complaining a lot about the minifigure choices here, and I'm not. Like, the minifigure choices are honestly really good. I just feel like they had the budget to do even more, but they chose not to. But it is still cool getting exclusive minifigures for Ninjago. The last one is a Dojo Kid featuring the brand new core training suit, which is completely fine. Obviously, the standout minifigures are Camille, really good to get her, and I think Detective Zane, probably another really exciting one. Of course, really good to get the most important named characters from the show finally in this large set. I'm glad LEGO was able to do it, but there's still so much more. And honestly, if you just count the different types of characters that were given new prints but are not really that important, you have the Chef, the Boat Vendor, the Borg store employee, and the Tea Vendor. That is 4 minifigures with new prints, which shows that LEGO had the budget to make 4 new prints that could potentially have gone to a different character. Now, maybe benefit of the doubt, they might be planning on doing some of the other fan favorite characters, like, for example, the Upply, or maybe a casual version of Scott. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot, but I don't know, I'm sure there's 1,000 other minifigures that we would love to get, but maybe they're wanting to do new molds for them, so I can see maybe that could be why they didn't want to do that, but it does still feel like a bit of a waste of potential to have the budget to make new prints or minifigures and use them on generic civilians. I also do understand that for the composition of a set to make sense to the general audiences, you do need to have generic civilians to actually man the stores, so I think that does make some amount of sense. This is the markets after all, and you did need to have some vendors, so I do understand why they did that, but still would have been cool to get other figures. However, enough about the minifigures. I think it's time we talk about the set itself because this is so good. I was really hoping that this would be a double base plate type deal. When they first announced would be the markets, my initial idea, if you go back to my initial rumor video, the first thing I said was I really hope that they do a slightly shorter build this time. However, do something that is a little bit longer, and that's exactly what they did, which is great. This is going to look amazing next to City Docks. but somehow they still managed to make it pretty tall. Like, the top of the lime green building is already pretty tall. The thing I do find a little bit odd, though, is that the lime green building is clearly supposed to be something to do with Cyrus Borg. You have him featured there with the box art, the Borg employee is there. I don't know why they didn't just make it Borg Tower. They could have. It would have been a little bit less interesting, I guess. It would have been a gray skyscraper and not an interestingly, geographically relevant lime green and teal building, which feels a lot more interesting as a design than the actual Borg Tower, but also feels like this was the perfect opportunity to give us Borg Tower in a LEGO set, but chose not to do it. Again, though, not a huge deal. Looking at the different layers, there's almost too many details to talk about. There are so many references. I see a Drome Racers reference. I see an RCX reference. There's a reference to the Ninjago City Gardens Museum. There's a Jacob Pevsner sticker. I am going to personally just go insane going through this with a microscope, going through every single detail, every single sticker, and talking about all the references to different stuff. You have the Duplo dog there. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on here. There's even a Pirates reference. I'm looking at this right now and I'm seeing a reference to Pirates 2009. That's crazy. Anyways, this is a really cool set for all sorts of different reasons. You have a nice pagoda tree. Wait a second. I'm looking at the back of the box here and there literally is a function to flush poop down a toilet. Is this the first working LEGO toilet in a LEGO set ever? Like, it is a working flush? That is hilarious, and a great piece usage too, using the LEGO Dots wall mounting piece as the actual inside of the toilet? Wow, never saw that piece as a toilet before, but I can never unsee it now. I've got a lot of stuff hanging on the walls using that piece, and I can never unsee that as a toilet now. Thanks, Ninjago City Markets. Overall though, lots of really great stuff to see. There is a sushi shop, there is a advertisement for what looks to be a mech battle, so you've got kind of the Samurai X mech from Crystallized being shown off there, with a picture of Borg Tower on the sticker, funnily enough. You have a place to play poker, which looks like Darrett's Laffy's Karaoke Club, great to see that, and the main, I guess, aspect, or the main interesting motion of the set is actually a working cable car, which is very cool. I'm quite excited to see how that looks in action, but it is quite cool to see. You have a lot of restaurants, you have a bed, you have a pizza place, a bridge which is built really, really well, and overall, this is one of the most exciting new LEGO sets in a long time. And with that, we have finally summed up our look at all of the new details, all of the new sets for Ninjago Dragons Rising. This video was a lot longer than I thought it would be, but I'm glad I was able to talk through all the details, and I really am curious to hear what you think of all these sets. Now, I'm also very excited to announce that LEGO will be sending Duckbricks a copy of every single set for free. Thank you so much, LEGO, y'all are great. Y'all know I would have bought it anyway on June 1st, but I appreciate it. I mean, the money's gonna go back to you. Any money I save by not buying this is going to be spent on more LEGO. So I think they probably know that, and this is just feeding into the plastic addiction at this point, so maybe this is all part of their master plan to actually get more money from me. But in all seriousness, thank you so much, LEGO, for sending these over, and let me know in the comments if you would prefer a mega review where I build and showcase all the sets at once in one massive video. That'll probably be like 2-3 hours long. It's gonna be a huge video. Or would you rather I actually split it up into different reviews and go from there? Let me know, and thank you so much. Alright, and with that, we have taken a look at the latest LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising sets unveiled at last. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of these sets? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Which one is your favorite and least favorite? And which ones are you going to get on day one? I am so excited to announce that Duckbricks will have the opportunity to review every single set early thanks to the LEGO Ambassador Network, so do stay tuned for future reviews, and let me know in the comments if you would prefer a mega review where I showcase all the sets at once, or individual reviews leading up to a mega review. I am happy to do either one, but do let me know what you prefer. And with that, we have summed up this video. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. And check us out on Twitch, where I'm doing a whole bunch of LEGO gaming live streaming, LEGO builds, and even behind the scenes of editing new LEGO videos. Thanks all, and bye for now.